Ms. Jorgensen didn't tell you the truth. She didn't use her glasses all the time. I have to. Dr. and Ms. Businger, Dean Hinton, Mr. and Ms. Dossel, David Navarro, Ms. Jorgensen, Mr. and Ms. Rodan, distinguished guests and family members. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce to you the next speaker who will accept on behalf of the Drummond family. I'm honored and humbled to be a part of this presentation. And I could introduce the next speaker with some dry facts and figures about where she was born, where she went to school, things like that, but that would be wrong because it wouldn't give you a sense of the Drummond family. It wouldn't tell you who Heman and Elsa Drummond were. What I'm going to talk to you about will acquaint you with the Drummond family, and you'll see that your next speaker exemplifies the traits and characteristics of that family. And you'll understand why they were and are successful in business and philanthropy. The journey of this family is important, so step back in time with me to Depression-era Alabama, and you'll see what molded Heman and Elsa Drummond and their family. Heman Drummond worked for DeBard Lebanon Coal Company. The DeBard Lebanon family were the Rockefellers of Alabama. They had it all. Coal mining, railroads, banking, timber, real estate, everything. Heman had a good job with them. And that meant the world back then, because a good job was more than most people had in Depression-era Alabama. In fact, we really didn't know there was a depression in Alabama. It'd been that bad a long time. He came from Sipsey. Sipsey wasn't even a town. It was a gritty coal mining camp in East Walker County. Southern end of the Appalachians. Most of its citizens would give their life to have a job like Heman Drummond, because a job at that time in Sipsey, Alabama wasn't just a job, it was life-sustaining. But Heman Drummond quit that job. 29 years old, in the shadow of the giant DeBard Lebanon Coal Company, he quit it and opened his own 3-mule push mine. I don't know if you know what a push mine is, but it's the cheapest way you can get started in the coal business. It's where the coal crops out. You just drive a shaft straight into the earth right there. You don't do a shaft down. You just horizontally push in there. You have mules. You put a little travel way in there and you have mules pulling them out with a cart. Heman didn't have a lot of foresight because he quit the wrong time of the year. He quit when it was hot. Nobody was buying coal. Couldn't make it. Didn't have enough money to get them through the winter when people would buy that stoker coal for their houses. He had 3 mules. He went home. He said, we got to borrow some money to get through. They borrowed $300 to make it till it got cold enough to sell the coal. That push mine was tough. Those men worked in 20 inches. 20 inches of coal. They'd crawl in on their belly with a little short-handled pick, knock that coal loose from the earth, push it out in the travelway where they'd be loaded in that cart. Those mules would pull it out. They'd stay on there on their belly as long as they could till they cramped up so bad they'd crawl back out and turn over, go back in on their back, all day long, over and over. Heman Drummond knew about work. He worked his men and his mules, and at the end of the day, he came home to Elsa. And they dreamed. They made plans. She was his partner. But as I said, they didn't have any money, so they had to borrow that money that first spring and summer. That moment and that mortgage of those 3 mules marked a watershed moment in Heman and Elsa's Drummond. It was an entry into the world of high finance. And it paved the way for the growth of that company, which ultimately led to its success And as an aside, one of those mules was named Tobe. They painted Tobe on the first drag line they put together up there in Walker County. It's the largest drag line east of the Mississippi River. Long way from Sipsey, Alabama in 1935. They took every penny they had. And then when they didn't have any more, they borrowed some. They bought land, they acquired leases, purchased equipment, always cash poor. But they made it through sacrifice and determination. And they never forgot to give. My senior partner, Charlie Tweedy, and people in here that know him, knew him to be a man of substance and frugality. And Mr. Heeman, when he'd get a little bit ahead, he'd go to Charlie Tweedy and he'd say, "Mr. Tweedy, here's some money. I want you to hold this money for me. Give me $20 a week. I'll come by every Friday and get my $20 and I'll leave the balance with you." Because he knew Charlie, he said, "Mr. Tweedy, I know if I've got it, I'll spend it. You got it, I won't." One day, on a three-rut dirt road in Sipsey, and if you don't know what a three-rut road is, it's a little better than a two-rut road, not nearly as good as a four-rut road. A man came up to Heeman Drummond, wanted work, was hungry. Heeman said, "I don't even have enough work for my family, but I got $20 here I just got. Here it is, take it." Heeman knew that Elsa had probably squirreled a little bit back from that 20 she'd had last Friday. Without a thought, he gave it to that man. He knew Tweedy wasn't going to give it back to him. He knew Tweedy was keeping his money. He gave that man his money. It's the kind of man he was. It's the kind of family he raised. Heeman died before he lived 50 years. 1956. Drummond was scratching out a living selling stoker coal houses and chicken houses. Little dump trucks, pulling up somebody's house with a big scoop shovel, shoveling off in the coal chutes. When he died, he had a lot of land, a lot of leases, a lot of equipment, no money, a lot of family. Elsa turned around after that funeral, looked out across there and saw 7 children. Isla Joe, Don, Siegel, Barbara, Gary, Larry, and John. John's still in short breeches. 4 of them are still in school. What'd she do? I'll tell you what she didn't do. She didn't throw up her hands and quit. She put Don in charge of the mine. Siegel had a promising career as a pro baseball player, was in Detroit. She called Siegel home. They turned to, put their shoulder to the grindstone. They made it. They came along, paid their bills. Things got better. In 1973, Gary took over the company. He gathered the family around him and he said, "Let's go big or go home." I said, "Let's go big, Gary." And they did. And the brothers and sisters, just like Elsa had been to Heeman, were partners with their brothers. They ran that company for 4 decades, signed the notes, borrowed the money, just like Heeman and Elsa did. And the rest is history. Drummond is now operating domestically and internationally, forging relationships in Japan and the Pacific Rim, mining in America and South America, and selling coal in America and all over Europe. All from a three-mule push mine, Sipsey, Alabama, during the Depression. And I told you that story so you'd understand a little bit about this family. It's important to understand where they came from, what they went through. They learned to work. They learned to give. They knew they shouldn't pull the ladder up behind them when they made it. And that has carried over into this 3rd generation of children who now own the company. Well, what have they done? What's Drummond done? What are they doing now? They've favored and been benefactors not only to Auburn, but the University of Alabama, where Gary was on the board, Sanford, where Barbara was on the board, where Beth Thorne Stukes now sits. And as a further example of what they've done, when the tsunami hit Japan several years ago with such devastating impact, they immediately established a fund to take care of those people, to try to help take care of those people. When the mudslides hit Columbia a few years back, what'd they do? They established another fund in Columbia to take care of those people. And in 2011, we had a cataclysmic event in Alabama when the tornadoes came through here and leveled communities, flattened them. What Drummond do? Another fund. When they took care of their people, they started taking care of the people that didn't work for them. And when they got through taking care of the people that didn't work for them, they started building tornado shelters for the people in Walker County. They built 24 of them with the seed money that Drummond put out. That's what they do. They didn't just talk the talk, they walked the walk. And ladies and gentlemen, that brings me to Beth Thorne Stukes. Beth's the daughter of Barbara and Buddy Larry Thorne. You know, we're shaped by our genetics and our environment. Beth was fortunate to have good genetics and was raised in a giving environment. She was raised to tell the truth, work hard, pay your bills, remember where you came from, and give back. I remember Beth as a little girl in First Baptist Church at Jasper. All elbows, knees, smiles, flashing dark eyes, bows in her hair. Every Sunday, her daddy gave each one of those 4 kids a quarter. You learn philanthropy. He taught them. She took that quarter every Sunday and put it in the collection plate. She was proud to do it. She had never stopped. She went on to graduate from Auburn. Went on to graduate high school, went to college, began teaching. By then she didn't have to teach. She taught in an area of the county. There's another tough, gritty town, Cordova, Alabama. Didn't have much. Taught 6th grade there for 16 years, way before she had to. She could have quit any time. Tornadoes hit Cordova and leveled it in 2011. Leveled it now. I'm not talking about knocked the building down. I'm talking about took out downtown Cordova. And like an old fighter that hears that bell, Beth sprang into action. She didn't have to do anything. She could have just given money. She didn't. She gave her time, her efforts, her thoughts. And she challenged Lewis Manderson, another alum from Cordova who'd done well. Matched him dollar for dollar and raised $1 million, and then took that million, and she and Lewis leveraged that into $6 million. And Cordova's on its way back. Now they might have made it without her, but they wouldn't have made it as well or as timely. But that's not all she does. She sits on the board of directors of Sanford, and in January she'll take over the reins of the Walker Area Community Foundation. And when Auburn wanted to raise $1 billion, who'd they call on to help? They called on Beth. And during all of this, she still has time to have a weekly Bible study at her house, every week. Heman and Elsa Drummond had servants' hearts. Their children have servants' hearts, and their grandchildren have servants' hearts. Heman and Elsa Drummond believed that to whom much is given, much is expected. They'd be proud of their family. Families have a lot, they give a lot. They're meeting the expectations of Heman and Elsa Drummond, where much was expected. You work hard, you pay your bills, don't forget where you're from, and give back. If Mr. Dossel and Dean Hinton will join me now, we'd like to present the International Quality of Life Award to the family of Heman and Elsa Drummond. Ladies and gentlemen, Beth Thorne Stukes.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you for eloquently sharing my grandparents' story. I'm mindful, I can't look at y'all. I'm mindful of the likeness of Papa Heman all family members have. The plaque stating, "We come from humble beginnings." Wow, it's a long way from rural Sipsey, Walker County, Alabama, to the United Nations. It is with tremendous humility that I stand before you. I'm humbled by my family being honored tonight in this very special way, and for the privilege of representing my family and our people. Our people are the tens of thousands of hard-working, dedicated men and women that have worked with my grandfather and my uncles for over 80 some odd years. Yes, our people are our extended family. To those men and women, we owe a debt of gratitude. Papa Heman believed good coal made warm friends. We believe that today. I never knew Papa Heman. Sadly, he died while my mother was a student at Auburn. And while I have many memories of Mama Drummond, she's been gone 30 years. But family roots run deep, and their spirit and examples live on through our entire family today. Memories, love, and loyalty call us back over the river and through the woods. Twice a year, en masse, back to the home my Papa Heman and Mama Drummond built in Sixie. In the spring, we plant a tree, share lunch, and have an Easter egg hunt. Heman and Elsa's great-great-grandchildren running all over the home place, filling baskets. Man, we're a competitive little bunch. At Christmas, the lawn is still decorated like Mama Drummond did every year. It is a rite of passage to take photos of your little ones in the life-size manger scene. My uncles were the pieces that composed a complete puzzle. They each brought the dreams, grit, and determination of their parents, along with skills and talents that were vital to the success of Drummond Company. Halla Joe and Mother, both Auburn graduates, War Eagle, were their best cheerleaders. I also must acknowledge my 5 aunts who kept the home fires burning while their husbands worked every day for the lot of us. Innovations and unique land use are a part of the family legacy. Uncle Don engineered a stronger drill bit for dealing with the unbelievably hard stone at Arkadelphia. The boys adapted the application of BE 395 short front shovels, apron feeders, crushers, and mobile conveyors. The feats allowed more efficient productivity and cost of mining. Hey, and if you want to know more about these innovations, cast blasting, and other such, see me after the program. Along with a few knuckle-headed Birmingham businessmen, only a bunch of country boys from Walker County with mining experience and equipment could envision taking someone else's 1920s unsightly reclaimed surface mines and developing what today is known as Liberty Park and Old Overton Country Club. But perhaps the greatest impact on Alabama, began in a small office building behind Son's, the local grocery store. Many other quality of life improvements have been and continue to be made with our people and their communities in Columbia. In Luke 12, Jesus shares a parable. Verse 48 says, "From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. And from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked." We know Jesus is trying to make the point about the greatest gift of all time, salvation, and being prepared for his return. To paraphrase, in Uncle Ben's words of wisdom to Peter Parker in Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. Sincerely, God gives us resources such as finances and time, talents such as doctoring skills or design ability, or gifts such as encouragement or teaching. In Aubrey's Camp Eye Care, we introduce philanthropy with talent, time, treasure, and trust. We should commit ourselves to expending these gifts and talents for good. Is what we were created to do. This is simply responsible stewardship. From the bottom of our families, 113 hearts, ages 1 to 86, we say, thank you, thank you.